Hello YouTubers, this is Cessnaace, and I received a package in the post today from the NES dump. I have 5 more games coming from the NES dump, but those are for the Sega Master System and those have to be made to order, whereas he has a handful of complete in-box Nintendo games that are already pre-assembled and all you have to do is order it and it goes right out. Now this game was never released anywhere. Now sometimes that can be explained, such as with the case Escape from Atlantis, the Color Dreams game. It was never released anywhere, even though it was complete, because it was horrible. Adventure Island 4 is a good game, published in Japan, but so late in the console's life that it couldn't be localized into English in time for anybody to care and purchase it. And then there's this game, and I have no idea why it was never released. It was completed, it's in full English, but it was never released anywhere. It is part of the Golden 13 universe or series, or whatever you want to call it. Secret Ties. I swear, every time I go to the NES dump, they've added even more games that are complete in box. Can't really say it has an instruction book. It has a double-sided instruction sheet which is laminated. Now, the cartridge will play in any NES console in the world. At least that's what is mentioned on the site. So that's pretty cool. Now, in addition to the 5 games I've got coming for the Master System from the NES dump, I have 3 Laserdiscs coming from Japan. 2 are anime and 1 isn't. Now in a recent video I had ordered some DVDs from Sinister Cinema, and they've recently branched out into publishing science fiction and some horror titles. These are all reprints, but in many cases they haven't been reprinted since they were first printed, and in many cases that is a long time ago. Now the publishing division of Sinister Cinema is called Armchair Fiction, and they offer a series that has 2 complete novels in each book, and I've started reading the first one already, Beyond the Rings of Saturn. I think it's pretty good so far. This was originally published in 1955. No, 51. A Man Obsessed was originally published in 1955. Now, I was so impressed with this, what I've read so far, and the quality, that I sent Greg, the owner and manager of Sinister Cinema, I sent him an email and suggested that he consider reprinting the Perry Rodan novels in English. Ace was doing it for most of the 70s, but they only got as high as number 119. The series is now up at or past 3,000 stories now, and he thought that was a great idea, but he didn't think the German publisher would give him the time of day, given the fact that he just started with these books, although he's been selling videos for decades. But I'm going to include a link down there, and if you want to contact Sinister Cinema yourself and make the same suggestion, I'm not asking you to, really, I'm not telling you to, but if you would like to do that, that would be cool. Just a little buzz in his ear. I plan to order a lot more of these books. Now, in the 50s, there were a line of comics that led to the creation of the Comic Code Authority. They were all published by William Gaines, who later started Mad Magazine. And after show trials, him in court trying to defend his magazines, his comics, he promptly canceled them all, and the only thing he published was Mad. But several companies have since reprinted many of them. This is from Russ Cochran. Now this is number 5 from Russ Cochran. This is number 5 from Gladstone. Kind of interesting because Gladstone was reprinting a lot of the Disney comics. This is only scratching the surface of my collection of these, and I try to keep them fairly handy because I love rereading them. They're just so well done, and they are so over the top compared to what is done now. Back then, you can only imagine the outrage by some. Now, eventually, the science and suspense and so forth titles weren't selling, the reprints I'm talking about, so they were canceled and they stuck with reprinting the horror titles. However, they got kind of sneaky at it. They made each issue a double-sized issue, and the first half was a reprint of a horror title, and the second half was a reprint of a science fiction title. Now, in the 80s, there was an explosion of independent publishers. First Comics, Innovation, Now, just a whole bunch, Dark Horse, Eclipse, and one of my favorites was Pacific. Now, Pacific started off as a comic distributor, and when they started, they tried their hand at reproducing the type of horror that EC was known for. And they came out with a series called Twisted Tales. This is issue 1. And they also came out with a science fiction series. That was number 1. This is number 3. This isn't all of these either. My comic book collection, most of it is squirreled away in boxes in the closet of several rooms. The closets of several rooms. Now, this was published by Hit Comics and is an adaptation of the movie Big with Tom Hanks. This was published by Edu Comics, and it would make a good companion to the film, the anime film, Grave of the Fireflies. I saw it. And then finally, for this issue, I've got issues stuck in the brain. For this video, from Personality Comics. My monitor just went crazy. Personality Comics presents. This is porn star Tracy Lords. Now you can come up with your own joke, because their next choice of who to cover is kind of interesting. And at some point I'm going to need to dig out some of my other comics, because there's a series that I have that I love. It's a black and white series published by Onward Comics, and it is a parody of a lot of things, but it's mainly a parody of Ultraman, and it's called Ultra Klutz, and it's one of my favorites. Okay, until next time, which will either be Laserdiscs or Sega Master System games, stay awesome.